How do you get them to open up and share their feelings and tell you what's really going on up there? How do you do that as a coach?
Yeah, I'm really pleased to say you mentioned Black Dog before this. I'm actually doing a luncheon to 1,000 people tomorrow for a company called a charity called Men in Construction, and they're talking about suicide, male suicide. So it's a very, very topical point at the moment, obviously, and so it should be. And in our world at the moment, with guys living in bubbles and having come and just seen what's happening in India, my gosh, I mean, we've got to treat people as humans, right?
It's a pandemic in itself now, isn't it, really?
Well, it is. And I say often, when I was coaching Western Australia and right through to now, I cannot tell you how many players have come into my office between the age of 18 and 40 and cried in my office. It's not because I've been mean to them. They're coming and telling me their story. It's unbelievable, you know, and that there's new fragilities in life, and you've got you've got to respect it. The great lesson I learned is that, and this is a personal story, and I share it rarely. I might talk about it tomorrow. But in 2001, I was dropped from the Australian cricket team in Ashes, in the 2001 Ashes, and I was shocked. Steve Waugh came to our room and told me I was dropped for the first Test match. I didn't know whether to cry on his shoulder or punch him out. Like I didn't know how to react, right? And then the great lesson was, for the next 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, I did what a lot of Aussie men do. I trained harder. I was ripped. I was so fit. I hit about 10 million cricket balls. And I kept saying, no, I'll show them. I'll do it myself. But every time I played the county games before each Test match, I was angrier and trying harder and harder, and failed hard because I was trying so hard. I was doing what men do. I didn't talk to anyone about it. I wouldn't talk to my wife back home. I wouldn't talk to my mates. I'm just going to show you guys. I'm just going to do it by getting fitter, and I'm going to hit more balls. That's what I'm going to do. And when I'm going to show you, I'm going to fight my way back. It got to the fourth Test match. Steve Waugh tore his calf muscle, right? So he's out. Come on, this is your big chance, Justin. This is your big chance. We're playing a game in Sussex. And in the first innings, I got about 10 runs off about 300 balls. I was trying so hard, and Gilly's the other end smacking him around like he did, like he's playing beach cricket. And I got out for 10 or whatever. The second innings, because this is my big chance, I get back into the Test team. If I make some runs, I'll play the next Test because Steve Waugh's injured. The second is like to bat just before stumps on day 2 or 3. I got a duck. And as I was walking off the ground, I honestly wanted the whole world to open up and swallow me whole. I got so low. And I remember walking off the ground, walked into the change room, and I grabbed Adam Gilchrist by the neck because he was the captain of that game, and also I selected, and I pushed him up against a wall. I said, look what you guys have done to me. Look what you've done to me. Da, 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 da. And I just went off. And because it just had built up. And that was it. As I was walking up, that's it. I'm retiring. I'm flying home tomorrow. I was so low, even though did all the things I think Aussie blokes who fit, practice. Anyway, when we got off the bus after training, I remember I had my tracksuit up, I had my cap on, I had my sunnies on, and I want to fight the world. And as we got off the bus, you know, an hour after I'd grabbed Gilly and John Buchanan grabbed me and said, let's go and have a talk. I said, no, I don't need to talk to you guys. I'll work it out myself. Like, that was clearly working well for me. And they took me to the little bar in the hotel. And we sat there. I remember we had Budweisers. I never used to drink during the game, right? But I had 3 or 4 Budweisers. And as I'm talking, I'm like spewing out all this emotion. I was getting sad. I was getting angry. But I actually started talking. I was talking. And I talked it all out. And it was like I was vomiting out this 8 weeks worth of emotion. And then that all happened. Then next thing, which was really interesting, which I learned a great lesson, I'd had a few beers. We're walking up, and we still hadn't been off but still holding our bags, and we're going up the steps, and I've got to go right to my room. John Buchanan's got to go left to his room, and we're standing on the landing. And you know that moment just before you have your first kiss, that really awkward moment, right? I remember it, but I don't know if you guys remember, or anyone's on this call, but I'm just having my first kiss because John Buchanan gives me this really strange look. He drops his bag, I drop my bag, and he gives me this massive hug.
Yeah.
He said, mate, I've been wanting to do that to you for 6 to 8 weeks, but I just haven't. The time just hasn't been right. He gave me a hug, bro. I went, oh, I've got my mates back. And then I rang home my wife that night. I said, babe, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I rang my best mate. I'm done. I rang my mum and my dad. I'm done. I'm coming home. And the next morning, my wife rang me and she goes, just hold fire for a minute. She says, I'm flying over. And she flew over within 24 hours with my third daughter, my baby, flew over. That, as she's flying, I had dinner with Steve Waugh, the captain, and I talked it through again. And then she arrived, and I got this really strange thing. And I thought, well, if I never play cricket for Australia again, the guys who I thought my enemies, Steve Waugh, Adam Gilchrist, and John Buchanan, like my two brothers and my dad, they're my friends again. My wife's over. I thought if I never play, what really matters is my mates and everything will be okay, right? Everything will be okay. Guess what happened a week later? A week later, I didn't get picked for the 4th test, but 9 days later, I got picked to play at the Oval and open the batting with my best mate, Matty Hayden, and my whole life changed again. I started opening for the next 5 years with Matty Hayden. And it was like I walked out to that, I had freedom, and I learned, you talk about mental health, I learned the great lesson is you can't do it by yourself. 2, Aussie men talk. And that's where mateship comes in and family comes in.